Hey, this is Rollivander. It's been a very long time since I've made a video, like at least a year or two, I think. But I'm making one now since I looked at my YouTube the other day and went, oh, I've got quite a few subscribers. I've got some videos with like 14, 15,000 views, stuff like that. And I've had a lot of very nice positive comments, so I thought, okay, I will make a video to talk a little bit more about some Harry Potter wand expertise that I'm able to discuss, I guess. And I'm going to try not to make the video too long. But anyway, this is basically talking about... I've had some comments asking me whether I have ever made wands because of the way I talked about wands in my past videos, I guess. And so the truth is I do carve, and I do carvings of wands and stuff like that. So these are some of the hand-carved wooden wands that I've made. Many of them with ideas taken from Harry Potter ones, and many of them not. But yeah, and I basically got them sorted into 3 categories based on how long ago I made them. Like the oldest ones are 5 or 6 years old or something crazy like that. Anyway, this video is supposed to more or less tell you guys a little bit about the stuff that I've done as a carver, an artist, and a wand maker, and to give ideas to anyone else out there, since I know there are a few on YouTube who make wands, but anyone else who wants to try making wands and stuff like that. And I carved most of them with basically a really high quality pocket knife. But yeah, this is just to go over some of the ones that I've made. So this is my first collection, which I've made like 100 total, but I'm only showing you guys some of them. And like these are the ones I made the longest time ago, when I was just starting out. So I'm going to start with this one. This one, I took my original idea from Harry's wand. Like, you can't really see the resemblance because it wasn't very good back then. But like, you can sort of see handle shape ideas. I didn't even have the Noble Collection wand then, so I was just doing it from what I thought it looked like from the movies. And it's much, much smaller. But yeah, it was the first try. This is the second one I did. It was the first time I did like a raised design, and it turned out okay. Like, I feel like if I did this again and I knew how to use sandpaper and stuff like that, it would be much, much better. Pretty sure one of my cats decided to chew on it. But like, you can see the paint's unrealistic and bright colors, and sort of grew out of that after a while. This one is... This was my first attempt at doing something similar to the other one. And like, it's got the 7 bumps, but other than that, it's not really realistic or close. Like, I was still doing everything in bright metallic paints and stuff like that. Like, this is the Noble Collection Elder Wand, and like, they both have 7 bumps, but other than that, there's not really all that many similarities. Like, the other one's like 6 centimeters longer, and yeah, it's just not that great. Like, I had a little bit of white paint there, pretending to be that band for a while, but it was a try. It was fun. This one, anyone who knows the wands knows that this one looks like Remus Lupin's, and I loved this one. It was my favorite for a long time. It's got way too much varnish on it. Like, just touching it, it feels like plastic. Like, you can tell I wasn't using sandpaper properly back then, and I wasn't getting very smooth designs and stuff. But it turned out okay, and I really enjoyed it. So it was my favorite forever. So next we have this one. This is the first time I tried to do an unusual shape. So, oh, now the camera's stuck focusing now. But it's triangular, and again, like, you can see like the way the wood chipped and snapped everywhere. Like, wood, a lot of pieces of wood will have a bit that just snaps right off as soon as the blade barely touches it. And like, you can see right there how the wood isn't smooth cut, where here it's a bit smoother. But I was still working, and like, the paint isn't very good at all. But it was a fun first try, and it's hexagonal. You can sort of see it up here on the shaft, and then the handle and the base are triangular. This was the shortest wand I ever did, probably. And it's like, again, unrealistic. Like, the handle's gold, and it's like reddish up here. But I really did like this one for a long time. The handle, it's not a very nice shape, but I always thought it was cool, and it's one that I'd like to try to recreate sometime or something like that. And then this one, I always thought of Cho Chang's wand when I worked on it. I have no idea why, since it doesn't really look like it. But this is another one where I think like someday I should redo it, just because it had a clever design idea, even if I didn't do a good job of it. And last of the first set is this one, which I got the idea from Snape's wand. It doesn't look like it, but I got the idea just plain black shaft and then a design on the handle. Like, I didn't do a design anything like Snape's, but still. So anyway, on to the second set. This and the next one, I think, were driftwood that I found. So this one I painted bright, unrealistic colors again, but the carving's a little bit better, and it's a little more interesting. This one was sort of its sister wand when I made it, and I sort of mended it with glue there because it was splitting apart. But I worked on it, and I still think that this one, like, if we took out this bottom part and made just this and added a shaft there, it'd make a really cool wand if this part was the handle. And I know it doesn't look like a wand, but it was always one of my favorites. I'm not sure why. And of course the colors are bright and unrealistic because I was young and didn't make good decisions when it came to that back then. This one, I sort of thought of a phoenix feather almost, just sort of wrapping around it. And like, it didn't work really well, but it was fun. This one is one of the first ones that I made where I was actually like, I'm pretty sure I used sandpaper and everything with it, which is amazing for the age I was. And like, it's smoother, it's got better carving, it's a little more realistic with the paint. Not much more, paints are still weird and shiny, but anyway. This one I'm pretty sure I made this in 2010, because it's got the red, silver, and gold, or red, bronze, silver, and gold, yeesh, of the Olympics, and since Canada was hosting the Olympics that year, I was excited about them. And it's the first time I tried to do a spiral design with 3 points, and it turned out okay. Like, I should redo that sometime because it's a little more comfortable to hold than some of the other ones I've done. And then this is the first, or one of the first times that I tried making something that wasn't a wand. So this is just a simple letter opener with a nice little switchback handle and bronze, gold-ish metallic paint with piles and piles of varnish over top. And yeah. And I actually made a box for it, which I've done for a fair few of the ones. I've got one here. This one sort of got crushed, but this is a box that I made with gold, with silver drawn on the edges. And then you can't see, this is something for the wand to sit in neatly. So then this one doesn't fit in this box. Thanks. But like if I took, say, this one and dropped it in, it sits neatly, and yeah, it was something I wanted to try for a while. I haven't made very many boxes just because they take forever. Anyway, this is some of my most recent ones, and they are much better. Like, this one was the first time I tried to make a square wand, and I took my inspiration from Sirius Black. It's also the first wand I made using a power tool. Like, I used a Dremel to do those little rune designs. And it was the first time, so like, they're not perfectly even, but they're a good try. And then along here I shaped it out of a square piece of wood, so I rounded this out with the Dremel. This was one of my best ones for a long time, except for the fact that it has so many layers of varnish on it that it is glossy and hard to look at, and it feels like plastic because of it. Like, I feel like if I had done the paint better, it would be one of my best ones ever. But next is this one. This one's actually, I felt I did one that's way too long. And just too big overall. Like, if I compare it beside the Elder Wand, it's like, it's just a little bit longer, but it's so thick that it just gives the impression of being humongous. And I don't really like that, but anyway. This was my favorite for a long time, and it still really is. Like, I've always thought this is my wand. Just because it feels right for me. But this one, I took my inspiration from Draco Malfoy's wand, in that they both have plain, simple, black handles, then a design separating the handle from the shaft, and then brown shaft. Mine fades through the colors, his just sort of stops. And I've always hated the paint on his. But yeah, the first time I painted this one, I repainted it 2 or 3 times. I actually did it so that these little engraved bits were silver on the inside, and I think I should probably redo that since it looked awesome. Yeah. This one I used too much silver, and I took my idea sort of from Narcissa's, which hers also has lots of silver paint on it, though of course hers is much better with the silver, in that hers actually looks like metal. Yikes, Karma, hold on, we're almost done. So, yeah. No, I like the shape of both of them in that they've got a little something separating the shaft and the handle, and then something similar with the same design at the base, and then a pattern in between. And like another Noble Collection one that does that is Slughorn's, where it's got the rounded handle and the theme for the ornament separating it. But yeah. This was the first time I tried to make up a design, and I really like this design. In that this design is not a spiral, it's more like a wraparound, like oval sort of thing, which I really like. And I think it worked really well with having it just sort of fade down, like taper down in sizes. This one, like I used silver paint and it didn't really work for here and here. Like I was hoping it would actually look realistic silver. The paint's really messy there, I should redo that. But, yeah. And then I painted it the dark color the rest of the way, and then what I actually did is, this is the actual color of the wood, and I sanded it off so that the dark color would come off and you'd see the wood underneath, which is why you see those little flaws in the paint and stuff like that, because that's where like I made a slight miss or a slight mistake with the carving, or if there's a flaw in the wood. These last three are the ones that I'm working on now. I'm painting them all right now using these beautiful paints that I got from this place in Vancouver, Granville Island, called, here it is, called Chroma Artist Acrylics, and they're beautiful paints. They work really well. They've also got this stuff called, sorry about that, called Chroma Crackle, which I used on, I think all three actually, though it didn't work on one of them, which I'll show you. This one is, it's how you get that, the camera will be kind enough to focus. There we go, you see that crackle pattern, which I love. I don't think it really fits this one, so I'm probably going to redo it. But, yeah. This one was originally painted black, almost like this one. And I thought this one deserves better, so I sanded off the paint, and I have repainted it. And I'm working on getting it looking really good. Like, I know the paint doesn't look great yet, but it will when it's done. And I'm hoping to give it, like, a really interesting, like, reddish-brown color. So, yeah. This is the first time that I've tried to paint a wand so that the paint looks like real wood in one of the light colors. Like, and it's not perfect, but it's okay. Like, if you look at these side by side, the one that I painted, which is the bottom one, is obviously is a little bit too yellow. And like at first glance, to me, it actually looks a little bit like a really old paint job that started to flake away. So I'm gonna work on that and see whether I can do a better job. And then this I wanted it to look almost like bark, but it didn't work, so I'm gonna strip that off and redo that. And it's a little too green in between too, but I love the handle shape that I carved here, just because it's unique, it's interesting. And at first glance, like, you can't really tell what's going on with it, it just looks different. Anyway, last one is this one, which was my second or third, I might have done more, idea based on the other wand. And this one I actually took the dimensions from the other wand, so you can see the bumps are spaced at about the same distance from each other, and then they're the same length. I didn't try to make them exactly the same, obviously. Like, I wanted to do a spiral pattern, and I wanted to make it a little bit different, and the bumps aren't nearly as pronounced. But yeah, I think it turned out really well, and I'm still working on the paint just because I'm not quite happy with it. But yeah. So those are well, not most, but those are a lot of the ones that I've worked on. If you have any questions or comments, then please let me know. I'm always happy to hear suggestions on how to improve them, as well as if anyone works on carving wands themselves, I'd love to hear what you're working on, or if you have any questions on how to do things better, then let me know. But yeah, that's basically some information about how I carve my wands. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, let me know, and I may or may not be making some more videos soon, depending on whether I've got anything to show. So yeah, thanks.